Hi all. Today we're going to start to learn, we're going to have a basic introduction on JavaScript. So don't confuse JavaScript with the programming language Java because they're completely different things. JavaScript is the programming language of the browser. In fact, it's the only programming language that the browser can recognize. It has the file extension .js, and so it can be used to create interactive websites. But the thing is, JavaScript doesn't just stop there. It can be used to create so many more things. It can be used to create servers, mobile desktop application. It can be used for machine learning, etc. Anything you can think of can be done in JavaScript. So to use JavaScript in our websites, we need to link it to our HTML file. So let me show you how to do that on Code Sandbox. Okay, so all you need to do is you need to create a new file called index.js. It doesn't have to be called index, but it's it's a good practice to name your first JavaScript file as index. Then afterwards, in your HTML file, at the bottom of your body tag, it must be at the bottom. Don't put anything below this thing here. You want to use something called a script tag. The script tag has an attribute called src. Inside src, you just put the name of your JavaScript file. So as I said, you want to put this at the bottom of your body tag. Don't put any HTML files behind this JavaScript file. If you want to put any more HTML elements, put it above. Okay, so let's just see if our JavaScript file is registered. We can use this little utility function called console.log. So console.log basically prints messages in the console. If you want to write a message, then we have to surround it with quotation marks. The reason I'll explain later, but let's just write it out and see if it works. Console.log, the message will be hello. Alright, see in the console, hello. Now we know this is working. Cool. Alright, variables. So a variable is basically a way of storing information. A good way to think of a variable is to think of it as a box. A box can store all kinds of information. And the thing is, in a box, you can store information, but you can also retrieve information. For example, here, if I stored the word hello inside the box, I can retrieve the word hello from the box later on. And so this is just an abstract way to demonstrate or to imagine how variables work. But let's just see how variables work in the programming language. To declare a variable, we use the syntax let and then the variable name. Then we need an equal sign, which means that what I want this variable equal to, and then the value of that variable. You can read this as let my number equals 10, in which my number is the name of our variable. For example, let's just try and declare a variable. Let's do let, and then I'm going to create a variable with the name of x. I'm going to set it equal to a number. I'm going to set it equal to 100. Then this is how I declare a variable basically. This is it. And so once I declare a variable, I can reference the value of this variable anytime using the variable's name. For example, I can do console.log x. You can see that since x equals to 100, when we console.log x, it would equal to 100 since 100 is the value we stored in the variable x. This brings us to basic data types. A variable can store different types of informations. In programming languages, these are called data types. There are three major types of data types in JavaScript. The first is numbers, which you have seen just now when I wrote 10 and or 100. Those are numbers. Then there's strings. Strings are a line of text. They're wrapped in double quotation marks. So remember earlier when we did a console.log, we used quotation marks to surround our message. This is because our message is of type string. Therefore, we have to surround with quotation marks. The last basic data type is booleans. So booleans are either true or false. So let's try declaring a variable of these three different types. I'm going to declare a number. Let my number equal to 10. Let's declare a string. So maybe I can create a string that stores my name. Let name equals, remember the quotation mark, and then my name, which is Alan. Then maybe we can have a boolean. So do let my boolean. The name of the variable is my boolean, and we can set this to true. The other value for a boolean would be false. You can actually change a variable by reassigning it. This is different from declaring it and since you're only changing it, you don't need the let keyword anymore. For example, if I have a number x and I set equal to 10, then I want to change the value of this variable. I can just do x and I can set it equal to a different value. So maybe I want to set it to 5. Now if we reference this variable by doing a console.log, you can see that 5 is printed. Okay, you can even assign a variable to another variable. There's actually another way to declare variables, and that is using the const keyword. The const keyword tells the browser that this variable cannot be reassigned. The thing is, using const is a much better practice than using let, unless you actually want to change that variable. And so you can see here that if I do const my number equal to 10, and I set my number equal to 5, it will throw an error in the console because once I declare a variable of const, I'm not allowed to reassign that variable anymore. If I want to reassign that variable, I would have to use the keyword let. Okay, I'm going to give you a little challenge. Declare two variables called x and y and set them to a number. Then I want you to swap the values of those two variables. So what will happen is that I want y to equal to 10 and x to equal to 25. So try and solve this on your own.